Hi, you're listening to She Shield, your one-stop pod for all topics personal safety. I'm your host, Sofia, and my goal is to help educate women and men on concealed carry, martial arts, and all topics self-defense. This episode is sponsored by Big Tex Ordnance, your soon-to-be favorite retailer for all of your firearms needs. BTO believes in only selling high-quality gear for responsibly armed citizens, as well as providing pre- and post-sale support. BTO values firearms training and supports firearms instructors nationwide. They even pay for their own staff to train with high-level instructors to ensure that when you, as the consumer, reach out, you are taken care of. Today on the podcast, we have Marisa Laren. Marisa and I are here in New Hampshire for the Rose Birthday by Sig Sauer and the release, it'll be out by now, of the Rose rifle.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Marisa and I just got to meet. She's here as one of the, what are we calling ourselves? Media people.
Sure, media.
Do we want to say the I word?
I hate that word. And I don't really feel like in this capacity for this event, that's what I'm here as.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess media person.
Media person.
Sure.
Let's do it. Okay, Marisa. Well, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to the listeners and just, take it wherever you want.
Oh gosh, that's like the worst thing. Like,
I know.
where
it's
am I?
general.
Yeah.
Well, this morning at breakfast, I asked you what you do. So is that something you'd want to start with?
Sure. I guess we can talk about my job. So I'm a tattoo artist is my main career. I also do oil paintings. I own a private studio in Tempe, Arizona right now, which I love. I've been tattooing since 2010, 11-ish. Well, I started my apprenticeship. I didn't actually start tattooing, but that's when I started in the industry. It was like 2010, 11. So I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this morning, first of all, so cool. I have yet to have a tattoo artist on this podcast. So I'm so excited to see how those worlds combine. Because I feel like something comes together there in some way.
I don't think that's true.
You don't think so?
No, I'm as far removed from the tattoo industry as you can possibly get.
Okay.
Artists in general tend not to be into the firearms community.
Okay.
I think people who get tattooed, there's a crossover. Like a lot of people in the military or people who like guns like getting tattoos, but tattoo artists tend to be on the other side of that political line usually.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Ooh, I have something for you then. So I've mentioned on this podcast, I was in med school, and I feel like I've said it 10 times today because we've all been talking about our past. And I jumped into the firearms industry, and I listened to this TED Talk. And just like any other TED Talk, I felt 10 times smarter afterwards because this lady talked about how don't quote me on this, but it's like the typical American has 15 different career paths, and that can be like small deviations, big deviations in their one lifetime. That's the average. And it used to be 6 back in the day and less, and it's just becoming more kind of common to have all these shifts, right? She said the major thing that they were studying were the characteristics that people took from career path or job to job, career to career, job to job.
That's interesting.
So I wonder, are there any aspects of owning your own business, being an artist, that have translated to your shooting career? And I know we haven't even talked about that yet, but are there any that pop up in your head?
I also as an artist, I feel very right-brained compared to, I feel like most artists are a left-brained person, the creativity side, right? Free spirits. I have never felt that way. I'm a little more of a type A personality. I like structure and organization and logical thinking. So I've never really, I'm creative in a way, but I never really feel like a true artist. I create for a living, I make art, and I'm artistic, but when it comes to I meet people who are left brain artists, and the way it just feels different.
Yeah.
So I don't, when people are oh, your art, does it translate over to other parts of your life? And I'm I don't know if it does.
Yeah.
It doesn't really feel that way for me. I feel like I have many hats or doing lots of different things and with my personality, but I don't know if my job or tattooing has really anything to do with anything else.
Sure.
It feels very separate to me.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's the case for everyone.
If it is, if it's your case, that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? This is your episode. So, I wonder, I'm gonna be looking for that throughout this episode. But if anything, you're good with people. And you're comforting to be around.
Oh, well, that's nice, because I feel like I struggle. Not like, I've not always been that way. Like, as a child, I was very shy, like crippling shy.
Yeah.
And I'm still very introverted. So, like, I had to cultivate people skills. I don't know if it really comes natural to me, but I try real hard. And I think it's a nice compliment when people say that I'm comfortable to be around.
Oh,
so
absolutely. Actually, Ayana messaged me when I landed, and she was like, I love Marisa.
Oh, well, that's
She's like, you're going to love her.
I just never know how I'm going to come on.
I feel like what's really cool, and we're not even on guns. Yeah, I love this. Is if you just have a good heart, I feel like other people with good hearts just detect that.
That's fair.
No matter how shy you are. I meet people sometimes. I actually have a buddy who I was training for TAC games with, and if you were to meet him one time, you might think he's like a not very kind person. He is very socially anxious.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes kind of off as like standoffish because he doesn't know if he should engage or not.
Yeah.
And I've met people who have said that was their experience. And I'm really big about like giving people multiple chances, because I'm also very socially anxious. And I will walk into a room with my head down, in a room that I know everyone in, because I need to get to like, CrossFit's a really good example. I will walk to the like locker area to put my things up without saying hello, because I'm like, there's this like big group of people that I have to turn and say hi to. And I'm always so nervous. And I'm like, do they think I'm a not kind person? My point is, like, I feel like people, I'm yapping.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime I'm in a, like, well, this is like a work event for me, essentially. Like, so I know, like, I need to be more personable. Like, it's, you know, it's like a job. So you have to, like, be kind. But, like, if I was just out, like, I don't know, by myself at, like, a restaurant or the gym, like, I am not unapproachable. I'm like, I don't know you people. I don't want to talk to you. I just want to like do my thing. And I'm like, I imagine the way I'm perceived in those situations is a little different. Like, I got RBF on purpose. Please don't talk to me. But like for these, I'm like, I need to be social and kind and talk to people even when I don't feel like talking, because otherwise you're going to seem very rude.
Yes, so, totally fair. Yeah, it's definitely like a, what is that called when you... is it a stigma? No, not a stigma. There's a word in sociology that defines how we act in various environments. I just can't remember.
I know what you're talking
about. Social stigma, right?
Yes.
And it changes from environment. Like, you would act differently in a 5-star restaurant than you would at McDonald's. Right?
Exactly.
Right. So like that makes total sense. Yeah, that makes total sense. I'm also, just on that note, I know we're totally debating, but I also love this. Sometimes I feel like the RBF and the closed offness is almost like a female survival thing.
Oh, like a defense mechanism.
Yeah, I do that when I'm in a gas station alone at night. I walk in and I almost look pissed. Like,
honestly, that's actually a really good tactic. That's I have like a nonprofit, and we were going over like situational awareness and for stuff for females to do to be less of a target. And honestly, that's one of them. Like being like, looking mean or like pissed off or like unapproachable honestly benefits you. Than if you're like ditzy, not as like the wrong term, but like bubbly and like
that gives me the mental image for sure.
Being more approachable would definitely in that situation probably make you more of a target than someone who's like, something's wrong here. I'm gonna stay away from her.
Absolutely. And perfect segue. So what's the name of your nonprofit? And if you don't mind, tell us what you do with it.
Absolutely. So we have our nonprofit is War Party Ranch. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. And we originally started it to help women of trafficking and abuse, and we cater largely to the Native demographic because they're 10 times more likely to be trafficked or abused in their lifetime compared to a regular female. But we cater to all women. So like I come from like an abuse background, so it's like a really and I'm part Native, so it's like a very special part of like my past to try to help the recidivism abusism, which is like rampant in those types of women. So we started doing a lot of different courses. We do stuff in like with like horsemanship, agriculture, but to like help women get skill sets to prevent them falling back into those patterns.
Yeah.
So we started doing like situational awareness, self-defense, those types of courses for women who are interested. And then we sponsor a few girls each course. And it's still like in the beginning phases, we're still building funding and building courses and like evolving our plan. But over the past couple years, we've been working towards that. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's great though.
Front lines.
Yeah, trying. We also have like a separate part, which is like War Party Movement actually works like on helping with trafficking, like firsthand.
Okay.
One of the main founders, his name is Jeremiah Wilbur. We're based out of Colorado, and he's like full on. He used to be a Green Beret, was in, the military, and now he works with like helping with trafficking, and he's also like part Apache, so kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You said something about it in the car on the way here.
Oh, yeah.
I told you I purposefully didn't ask questions, which is hard for me because I'm so curious. I also ask people like probably deeper questions than they're ready for when I first meet them. But
I prefer depth over anything. Like I don't like short, pointless conversations. I would prefer the deep ones. So
good. So when I went over my dating history this morning at breakfast, when I first met you,
I like little windows into people's lives.
Exactly. And for reference, people listening, it is Valentine's Day, so it was appropriate. It was the topic was, we were flowing. It worked out. But yeah, okay. So this is amazing. I have so many directions I want to go in. Before we go into things a bit more specifically, where can the listeners find this nonprofit, and what can they do to?
We have a website, so you can go to warpartyranch.org. You can also go to warpartymovement.com. I think it links you to it. We also have Instagrams. There should be a Facebook. So War Party Ranch or at War Party Movement will both take you to the website. And there's like places to donate. There's more information on our founders and like our board members and our course instructors. So lots of information on everyone.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. And I will link it in the show notes of this episode. So if you're listening, don't leave quite yet, but scroll down, at least click on the link, bookmark it. That's lovely. You said donations. Say someone is in a place where they can't maybe financially donate. What are some ways they could get involved with your organization?
We have like, there's a link for donations on like things that we're looking for. So if it's like, if we're doing horse therapy courses, sometimes like donating feed, if you had it, that's like an example, or like self-defense, you could donate ammo, or like there's lots of different options for donations. But honestly, like sharing, like getting the word out, that is like a great way to donate, just like spreading the word. So if you want to like share the page or a post or tell someone about it, that's a great way to donate.
Absolutely. Yeah, which we will. We're going to share this. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and I'll make sure we tag all the socials as well. So how did that start for you? How did you get involved?
So Jeremiah, who's like the original founder, we met through social media, just through, I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you exactly how we met online, but he had been doing War Party Movement. This was before War Party Ranch, which is the nonprofit version. Okay. So War Party Movement was mostly just doing like helping find natives that need help, women who've been trafficked, all of that. And we just started chatting, and it was like a cause that I was really interested in helping. I used to donate time at like women's shelters and stuff, and always wanted to be more involved in helping. And we started chatting. I told him I'd be interested in helping wherever I could. And then we actually ended up meeting. He guided me on an elk hunt, and we like talked and
okay.
on an archery elk hunt in Colorado. That was like our first in-person meeting. I got to meet his wife and his kids, and like we went on this like out in the middle of nowhere for 5 days to hunt for elk, which was like a bonding experience.
I'm laughing too because and tell me if you want me to omit this from the episode, but you told me about how you met your your
boyfriend online as well.
Yes.
Totally different situation.
Right.
But again,
Your
a
first
common
date.
thread, that I went and met some random stranger man in a different part of the world for the first time. Yeah, I had a good vibe both times. Like good energies, and I brought like lots of knives.
So many knives. That's all you need. That's so awesome. Sorry, didn't mean to deviate you there, but
That's
like,
so funny. I didn't even put that connection. I'm like, dang, I really do have a habit of doing that.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if there's more than just those 2 times.
That's so funny. But so far, it's a pattern.
Yeah, one is my fiance and the other one is one of my best friends, and like so that kind of worked out.
Oh my gosh, it did. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I would think, I haven't hunted yet. I think the downtime and getting to know each other would be very special.
Oh yeah, it was close quarters, like on a tent in the ground in the middle of like, it was cold in Colorado too. Yeah. So like, bonding. Yeah, farting in the tent next to me. I'm like, this is fine. His wife warned me.
That's so funny.
But yeah, lots of like time to chat and just talk about like my background and his background, and it was really neat actually. And then then War Party kind of evolved into us wanting to actually kind of be like a place to help women. Again, like it's more of a recovery type of thing, like people who want help and want to stop break the cycle. Like that was like a big part of my journey, is like breaking that abuse cycle. So anytime you can, it's a really hard thing to do. There's a reason that many women who just in general, when you've been abused and it becomes your normal, they keep falling back into it. And like from the outside, people look at it as like, even like really strong women. I've met really strong women where you meet and they seem like capable and tough, and they're in abusive situations, and people kind of don't understand that the two are not mutually exclusive. Like you can, you can still fall into that. And so like helping women like break that cycle is super important. So,
and the cycle being the cycle of abuse.
Yes.
Would you be willing to kind of share what your thoughts are on the cycle if you had to like teach it to someone who didn't know it? I only recently became familiar with it. And like, if we make this a clip on social, we'll pop up a little graph, but what is your understanding of the cycle of abuse?
So I think it depends on where it starts. Like for me personally, usually it starts familiarly, like from your family. So like for me personally, I grew up in a very abusive household, physically and mentally. And then I went into two back-to-back abusive relationships. So usually in like psychology, like the way you're taught love translates as you get older on what you think love is and what's acceptable. And so when you're taught that it's like pain or suffering or manipulation, that as you get older can still happen, and like you fall into these patterns because they're learned behaviors, and you don't really know. Like I think you always kind of know like this isn't right, but it feels normal. It's what you're used to. Like comfort zones are like a real thing.
Right.
So falling back into those patterns that you've learned and have been put onto you. So breaking that is like, it's a lot of like inner work. It's not just like leaving. Right. Like, oh, I left him or I left this situation doesn't break a cycle. It's actually like your learned behavioral traits, how you deal with like your trauma, and then figuring out how to unravel those things that were like put on you and then change them, which is very difficult to do. I think independence and like skill sets play a big role in that, like giving people, showing them they're more capable and that they're able to change. I think a lot of people feel like they can't. It's because it's a daunting task.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would love to know, first of all, thank you for sharing a bit of your story. I hope you don't feel any pressure to share.
I share a lot of it online.
I love it. I bet that's a big part.
The Instagram's kind of like, you have to be kind of delicate with how much you share. People get triggered.
Well, Instagram gets triggered.
Exactly. And I also feel like it's hard. It's to explain stuff through like a text format versus vocally. It's a lot easier. So I don't mind. I've come to terms with everything, and I'm in a good place. So
yes. And I'm a big believer in sharing stories as part of the podcast. It's part of why I changed career paths, just hearing other people change career paths. And this is one of those things too. I think no matter how much someone can be told they're in an abusive situation too, unless they hear someone in a similar space or you talking about your story, something like that, there may not be like a light that comes on until then. So all of that to say thank you.
Yeah.
And I'd love to know, I know these are kind of like really general answers. I'm interested to see where you take it. When it comes to abuse, I think people immediately think of physical abuse, which I kind of do in a way. Like I think immediately of like someone physically harmed.
It doesn't usually start out that way though.
Right, exactly. So I would love to know, what have you seen in your experience working with other ladies? If you want to share with your own journey, like where does it normally start?
Oh yeah, usually. So it's interesting. So it depends on like trafficking is so funny because it's usually started with bonding. Like most people aren't just snatched and trafficked.
Right.
Usually kind of falls into it, but like usually there's a bond that's built. It's all manipulation to earn your trust. And like I've personally, I literally was in a relationship with like someone who groomed me. He was like a literal predator. I was like, first when he showed interest, I was 14. And then at 17, he really pursued me. And there was a lot of like all nice things. Like I can, like you don't have anywhere to live. Like I can help you. Like, oh, like you don't know what you're doing with your life yet. Like, let me help you. I can help you buy your first car if you want to, pay me in cash or whatever. Like it was like, oh, this is all so nice, like nice things. It was all manipulation so that I was dependent on it. And then like, that's a lot of times where it happens. And then there's like, the textbook gaslighting, like where first they build you up and then they tear you down. And there's like a roller coaster of emotions where you're purging like stress hormones and then they're nice and you get the like dopamine hits and serotonin.
Yes.
And it's almost always the mental abuse can be a worse lingering effect than the physical abuse. Like those are the things that kind of stick with you longer. Like scars and stuff will heal for the most part. And you get like TBIs or whatever. It's different, but But yeah, it always starts emotionally and mentally. And then it starts to escalate. Like I had that happen where it escalates and it turns into like throwing stuff or like punching a hole into your head or like shoving you. And then it gets like worse and worse. That's pretty much the case, I think, for most people. It doesn't start off with them beating the shit out of you because why would you be there? Why would you stay after the first time? It's usually like, oh, they love me and like, oh, I have no one else. And he keeps telling me like no one else will care for me or take care of me and I have no friends or family anymore. They've all left, probably from like by design. Yeah. And then you feel like you don't have a way out and it's the only person who wants to take care of you and like you make excuses and there's embarrassment mixed in there. Like I don't want to tell people that this is happening because I'm letting it happen and oh, he's nice this time if I would be better and I'm the problem. So that's like a big, it's multifaceted. Like there's just so many dimensions to it and it's not always the same case, but that's like a kind of a similar thread for most people.
Absolutely. Oh, there's so many places I want to go from here. And for a podcast that's very focused around women's self-defense, I mean, we started it out, my ex-co-host and I started it out as just like our perspectives and we were in over our heads. We didn't know anything past episode 12. We're like, we need to start bringing people on because we don't know what we're talking about. There's actually, I've only ever had one other episode, had a human trafficking and sexual assault specialized detective. I don't know if that's how, I don't think I said it correctly, but Sherry Thompson, I'll link her episode with this one in the show notes because it was so great. She talks about like those very first signs of human trafficking and like some steps to take. And she actually is a university counselor for women that report crimes like that, which is amazing. But my point is I'm loving this perspective and this conversation because I think it's important, even if you're not yourself experiencing something like this, if you know someone in your life is, educating yourself on how to handle it and not approaching them with like shameful language or because that like drawback
closes them off immediately because they honestly feel like I feel like you're so defensive because for me personally, I'm only going to talk about my personal experiences. Like as much as I've met other women and like try to help, like I don't know their experience as much as I know my own.
Right.
And I just remember feeling so defensive anytime something was brought up, and like if I wasn't already alienated, I would have alienated myself more.
Yeah.
Because there's like a part of you that knows that it's wrong and you should leave, but it's so crazy because I think about like where I am now, and I'm like, never like would I put myself in those situations again or allow for someone to treat me that way.
Right.
And having done it for so many years, like the majority of my life was like abusive situations. But yeah, there's like a lot of embarrassment. So like you feel like you're to blame, and like anyone who comes at you, like all of that is just going to set up defense mechanisms, and you're going to turn off and like turn away. And yeah.
What would you say a good strategy is for someone, maybe someone's listening to this podcast and they've been thinking of someone this whole time. They're like, oof. Because, we all, I don't know. I've met friends, partners in the past, sisters, partners. Oh, those are the ones where I just want to like, one of those like not find the body cases.
I live in the desert. There's lots of those places.
Perfect. I'm moving like near the desert soon. Okay, so what would be? Oh, they're dimming the lights out there.
Yeah.
I bet we're still good though. I bet we're still good on lighting. Okay, so slight deviation. We're in a hotel for those listening. We're straight up at a Marriott. So, okay, going back. What would you recommend someone do? How do you recommend they open that conversation up?
I think there's like a few different tactics you could take. I think anytime, like if, I don't know how forceful these people want to be with this. So I think coming out of a place of like love, like, and kind of being really sensitive to the fact that they're in this situation, and like, I don't know, like asking them lots of questions about like how they feel, like where they're at, like if they need help, but like in a really loving, caring place, and not at all in a like judging space, because I think that would be, and then like kind of gauging their reactions. Some people just are, I don't know, they might not want to talk about it, and it's really hard to push that, which you can try. I just anytime you've like tried to push a situation with someone who doesn't want to hear it doesn't usually go well. I think also like sending them examples, like, oh my gosh, I saw this story this girl shared and I loved it, like, and I thought maybe you would enjoy it too. And it doesn't have, I feel like that's like a way to like trick them into like, oh, this isn't really about you, like it was about me, and I loved this story of like whatever this girl shared where she got away from a horrible situation. And sometimes it's like leaving a husband, if you have kids and stuff, I know that complicates it. Like I was pretty fortunate, there was no kids involved. So it was just me, and but I know that complicates relationships too, where moms don't want to leave their kids without a dad. But I'm like, after being in like an abusive household, like I think the best thing for those kids is to be away from that, because even if they're not being abused, they probably still are, and they're seeing it and they're witnessing it and they're learning that that's normal and that's so unhealthy. But sharing something like, look at this story, this mom left and took her kids and like she's thriving, and like examples of like it's possible, I think would be a really, because I feel like those stories resonate with people, like when you're reading a book or you watch a movie and you're like, oh, if they could do it, maybe I can do it. And like those little seeds of like, you could, I think that would help. Also like nonprofits that offer help, or anything like that, I think would be like a good, like, here, like maybe they'll take something from it without you feeling pushing. And I think that's what I would recommend. And then if they ask for help, then take as much as you can give them, honestly. I feel like sometimes people ask for help and then they're not helped.
Right.
I've definitely seen that happen too, where they're like, I need help, I need a place to stay. And they're like, oh, can't. And then horrible things happen. So,
oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate us having this conversation. I actually, I've never shared this on the podcast, but this seems like the best time. I was actually in a relationship where a partner began with voice raising, and then hitting and putting holes in walls, and then searching for a firearm in the middle of an argument.
Oh my God.
And I'm not even gonna lie to you, until you started talking about how to talk to someone, I forgot it happened.
Oh my gosh.
Because it hit me.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, just like I just like forgot it, when I was in it, I didn't see it as abuse because he made it so much about him. And like he was struggling. Like, he was just really struggling, and I made his life so hard, and I made him feel like a failure. And I remember being like, I need to be a better person.
Oh yeah, I have those thoughts.
Because when I just had a great therapy session the other day. Highly recommend therapy to those listening. I'm sure you're a fan. She talked about after a breakup, there's a bargaining phase. And you kind of start thinking, well, like, what could I have done better? And you're like, man, I probably could have, that one time I kind of did raise my voice at him. What if I hadn't? Maybe I wouldn't have made him so mad, and then he wouldn't have punched the wall. And you start bargaining your own needs and your own boundaries while denying that they're the problem or that they have a problem, right? And then you go back to a situation that ends up back in that cycle. And I think the thing that did it for me was being sent a graph of the cycle of abuse during my separation from this person. I could be very vague about who they are. That could, lead to something not good. But my friend literally just sent me a picture of the cycle of abuse, and I was like, oh shit, I was in the middle of it. I didn't even see it. I had no idea. And you would think like, okay, so now I'm thinking back and I'm like, that's insane. He was looking for the gun that I'd hidden. So like, but of course, the only reason I was not worried is because I knew where it was hidden, and it would have been really, really hard to find. But I remember even the whole time he was looking for it, I was just like, I wasn't even like, I was scared, but I almost felt like I deserved it. Like, he was so angry at me. And so like, and you would think like, I have this podcast, I'm all like women's self-defense. I'm all like,
I told you, it's
gun safety.
Yeah. People assume that it's like only like weak women who have nothing. And I'm like, that's not the case. I've met a lot of women where off the bat, you're like, dang, they're like, have a good job and are like strong-willed and like seem really capable. And then they're in these like horribly abusive relationships, even if it's just like mentally abusive. It's not, it doesn't always matter. It doesn't, there's like stuff inside of us like that sometimes allows, like for me, I was like, I had to figure out where I was the problem. You said like, and I'm like, that was like my turning point, is I kept having this thing happen, the cycle, and I'm like, what part of me is allowing this though? And I had to fix the parts of me that actually were the problem, and allowing those people in my life, and to like cut it off and change it. But it's really hard to recognize where you're the problem, especially when you're not the problem, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like, how am
I did not, like, I don't want this to happen. I feel like I'm only trying to be kind and like be a good girlfriend or a good daughter, and like these things keep happening to me. And I was like, well, there's a part of you that's allowing it, or parts of you. Right. It's really hard to come to terms with.
Right. Would you say that's where kind of enablement? I heard something the other day. I want to drop this. Okay. I was trying to decide if I should stay. This was at a point in my life I won't specify, again, trying to be super vague. This is a different relationship, and I was trying to decide if I should stay. And I'm all about giving grace. I've made some big mistakes in my life where I'm like, if that was the thing that defined me, no one would trust me. Like, I would never be able to come back from that. And so I try to allot the same grace that I would want. This whole like 7 times 70 thing in the Bible, as if that's not a very well-known saying. All that to say, at some point though, my friend told me grace becomes tolerance, and tolerance becomes enablement. So without change, the grace you're extending to someone becomes tolerating their behavior. Without change, again, that tolerance becomes your enablement of their behavior. How do you feel about that? Do you agree? And would this trajectory be something that you would want to tell people about?
I think that's like a perfect way of explaining it. Like, boundaries are important. And like, I think also like learning your worth, like having self-love and self-worth I feel like I didn't have it for a really long time. I thought I did. I was like, yeah, I know what I'm worth. Definitely didn't. Felt completely, I mean, I was like years of being told I'm a piece of shit and literally worthless. And I like just so like that was just in the back of my head all the time. And I feel like, yeah, I was like constantly trying to give people grace, but you need healthy boundaries. Like I can give you grace to a point, and then it literally becomes like abuse to me. Like either I'm allowing this and allowing you. So I think that is like perfectly well said.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, when it's actually my best friend's boyfriend on FaceTime, he dropped it. He was like, he always does that. Like we'll be talking and she'll be skirting around the truth, and then he'll be like, "Yo," he'll drop it.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind, earlier you mentioned that your home life was like that, and then your first few relationships were like that.
Only two.
Only two.
Well, like I can like 2 adult relationships.
Okay.
I don't know, dating a boy for 3 days in high school. I don't know if that counts.
Man, I don't count.
Also was super toxic. So.
Okay, I mean, it can traumatize you. Like in those 3 days, he could absolutely.
I said like from 17. It was like a 6-year relationship. But the first 3 years he was overseas. So I pretty much lived alone and saw him every 3 to 6 months for a week.
Did that contribute to
a huge part of the longevity? Well, yeah, I didn't notice a lot of the signs. Like there was definitely like cheating and lying, but I didn't notice a lot of it because he wasn't there. And part of it. But when he got back, he got like hurt. He came back and I noticed all the signs. And I think one of his biggest mistakes was allowing me to live alone for 3 years and like work for myself and kind of live alone and kind of have some semblance of independence, even though everything was like in his name. Like I was, tattooing, making my own money.
Yeah.
And I think that was like he made a mistake because then when he came back and we were around each other all the time, like things were it was insane how crazy and bad. And I was like, I tried for a little while to like deal with it, but it got really bad.
Yeah.
And then I went into I was leaving him because it was so bad. Like I had to get a restraining order. Like there was a lot of crazy stuff. And then I went into this like other relationship, which was like I call it a door. Like it was just a way for me to escape. And I was very manipulative also, because once I like found out who he was, it was like everything he told me was lies. And he was super emotionally like abusive, and the gaslighting was insane. So yeah, I only had like 2 adult relations, and then I was single for like 7-8 years doing all the inner work. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah. The door thing is interesting. It's like, it's an escape, but it's not. I'm sure that would be really hard to discern when you're coming from something that's extremely hard to like potentially better. It's like you don't really know at the time.
It was, I guess, better because I left like my hometown and that situation, but it wasn't like I went to something better. It just got me away from a bad situation, which I consider like, that's why I call it a door. I'm like, well, it did benefit me technically.
Right.
So
yeah, that's hard. It's always hindsight.
And I'm like, I see the reasons why, like you're like, if you believe in that with like the universe, like, oh, like things happen for a reason, or you give it meaning. And I'm like, well, I feel like it happened for a reason, and like taught me lessons that I needed to learn personally, whether they were good ones.
Right.
Yeah.
There's something you said earlier that's been kind of like hanging above my mind. So I just want to bring light to it. It's like the not me syndrome. Like this couldn't happen to me syndrome too. I feel like I think I hear these horror stories of women all the time. I mean, just anywhere. I also listen to a lot of true crime. Okay. So like if we're thinking heuristics, I'm doing that to myself. But I didn't think it could ever be me.
Yeah.
And it's an unfortunate fallacy, and because I think we see these really big bad examples and we're like, okay, well, I'm not getting like beaten, right? But like, I didn't get shot either, but like there could have, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, for someone that's maybe in this, like they're listening to this episode and they're thinking like, maybe they had like this glimmer of like my partner is pulling me in and out, pushing me out, pulling me in, pushing me out. And maybe it's starting with like some small emotional things. What are some first steps they could take on their own if they've yet to tell anyone? Like, what's a first, would you say that's like Googling and psychoeducation? Would you say that's reaching out to a counselor?
And well, yeah, therapy and education, I think, are always going to be like paramount for I think education in anything is going to, it's a weapon that you can use against any situation. And especially for that, like if you don't know and you're not educated in it, like you may not notice some of the signs or like, you know, things you're allowing, etc. So I think educating yourself, like I don't know, like we're in an information age, like there's Google and Chat GPT and all of this stuff where you can. Yeah, I was so anti it. I'm like analog as hell. So I'm like not terrified. I'm just like very like, I still have like a paper planner and I'm like, I like books, like real tangible paper books. Yeah. So, but we live in now. The internet is great nowadays, and you can Google anything and find information. And there's therapists online now. Like you don't have to meet one in person, or you know, people who are willing. I don't know. Reddit has people offering information and from questions and stuff. So I feel like there's lots of ways to find it if you're not ready to talk to like a real person.
Right.
Yeah. And then like, but I think real people are probably the best thing you could do. Yeah. Yes. Like talking to other people. And also like if you're in any type of, I don't know, I've seen like toxic relationships, even if it's not like abusive, but like we only get this one life, and to waste it on people who don't better us or make us happy is insane. Especially after like doing it for so long. I'm like, why would I waste the minute amount of time I have on this earth being miserable? Yeah. Like hating my life, being like terrified, sad, upset, like fight or flight all the time. Like there is another option. Right. Like, yeah, I would.
There is another option.
There is.
I don't know why I love the way you said it.
There's another option. I know, and it's like not easy. I can make when I say it like that, like a not diminishing, like it's definitely hard, but there's a lot of things in life that are hard, but they're always worth it. Right. So like if you're in the beginning stages of just like, I'm unhappy, like freaking leave, man. Being single is scary, and I see it. More people are terrified of being alone than in a bad relationship. Like, trust me, once you get over that little fear, like being alone and happy is far better than being miserable with another person. Yes. And it also leaves room for you to meet the right person.
Yes, I'm going to be totally vulnerable here and just say that is my big life lesson right now. Like coming from a divorce.
Well, not everyone. A lot of people learn it. I wish more people did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's great that you're learning it now.
Thank you.
You're still young.
Yeah. You know? Some of my best friends are older, and I have one that's 29, and she was like, learn it now. She was like, you're 26. You have 3 more years of happiness than I had, because I wasted so much time trying. The whole, like, I saw this reel the other day. It's like, no one gives you an award for sticking around in a toxic relationship. No, none. No one gives you an award for loving someone more who doesn't know how to accept your love. Or like, and I kept reading, like, no one gives you an award. It's like one of those carousel reels, and you're like, everyone like applies to you, and you're like, wait, this is made for me. And it's so
feel attacked.
Exactly, 100%. Like, I think, I saw this other one. Holy shit. I saw this other one that was like, women tend to confuse love with effort.
Oh yeah. That's a lot of people.
Right? People for sure. I think I just see it more on like the women's perspective side, but I have men that, have guy friends that have like absolutely just like poured everything they had into relationships.
But for health.
Not as long as my women friends.
Hello, like effort. I'm a big fan of effort and like actions over words, palatable words, etc. But yeah, actions, effort, I do feel like speak along, but like a lot. But how long are they putting in that effort for? Like, just at first, and like, the first couple months when it's easy.
Right.
Yeah. Or.
And then there's that fallacy of like, should I stay longer to see about it?
We're not doing projects anyway.
That was 6th grade when we were told we could do the volcano as our science project, but now we
I was homeschooled for a good chunk.
Were you? Okay, so
volcano.
No, it's totally different. I never did the volcano. I actually did aerodynamics randomly. I found out nobody was doing it, and I was like, I made it to state. I was like the only one, so I went to state, and I did this is such a tangent right now, but maybe a breath from this dark topic. But I tested wood and arrows versus aluminum versus carbon fiber, and went to this range where they tested the velocity of the arrows. So neat. It was neat, but then
this is 6th grade.
I was I was junior high.
Good for you.
So this was 9th.
Oh,
this is 9th grade.
Oh wait. Junior. Oh, that's so interesting.
Junior high. We had. Oh, did you have high school's 9th grade?
Middle school and high school was 9th grade.
It just depends on where you're.
I know. Yeah, that's what I was like.
Literally, just depends on the exact school you go to. It's different everywhere, I think. But yeah, I made it to. I love telling people I made it to state, and junior high was the only one. Anyway, moving on. Not important, but yeah, we are not taking on project men.
No, I was very. When I started dating again, it was like I wasn't dating a possibility or I don't, if you have potential, I'm not interested. Especially I don't know, I'm 34 now, but when you're in your 30s, for me, I'm like, if you're in your 30s, 40s, you should have really kind of everyone's life trajectory is different. So but you should still kind of have your shit together. You should be a mature adult. You should have, work ethic and kind of, figure out some of your inner stuff where you're not projecting it onto another person. And I was like, I'm not interested in anyone who's still trying to figure their stuff out. I did mine, 7 years of it. I feel like I sound like Sirius Black. I did my waiting, not interested. And doing
Potter people, not.
Sorry.
Just for those who don't know. I feel like I need to.
It might have been.
It's been a deep cut for some people. So
and the years is not exact. It was just paraphrasing.
I love it.
Yeah, but I don't see the point of I feel like two people should be building together. You should find someone who's you're always growing and changing and adapting, and finding someone who benefits that growth and sits with you in it and it grows with you is great. But you can't have two people on two different trajectories. One person's going up and the other person is all of it's not super healthy. You can stay with someone when they're struggling, but I don't want to date a project or potential, because potential is it's smoke.
Right.
You don't know if it's ever going to become tangible and real. Right. It's just smoke.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
If someone too, oh my gosh, I almost feel bad saying this now. Well, this is a recent thing that I had happen. If it takes someone leaving for them to change. No, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that hard?
But I don't know if it always, I feel like people want what they can't have sometimes.
Right.
And they recognize a good thing. That doesn't mean they are willing to actually change to keep it around the next time. I feel like they know you're going to take them back, and they get that little leeway, and I don't have to change. You came back without me proving anything. Why would I change? I don't need to. You already took me back.
We're teaching them.
Yeah, you're allowing them to get away with bad behavior and kind of rewarding it. And
it's you take me at my word. Damn. Well, also I can fly. So you just should believe me. I always think of what I would tell my future daughter.
Oh yeah.
That is my go-to. Whenever I'm struggling and I'm should I give this person a chance? I'm okay, my daughter's sitting in front of me. She has my face and she's younger. And it makes me feel so emotional. And I'm I would tell her oh, cool. So are we just taking men at their word now?
Yeah.
So did he change his behavior?
Actions.
No, he didn't. Okay, so you're just kind of trusting, and not to shame. It's not a shame thing, because it's
they haven't earned I have this I don't know if it's controversial opinion, but I've had this with friends and people I meet. I don't think everyone deserves your trust. I think they earn it. So just because I've met you and you're nice or not, whatever, and you're you can trust me, and I'm no. That's not how this works.
Right.
Yeah, you get to earn that trust by actions and follow through. And if you don't do that, no, why would I trust you?
Right. Are you in search of top-notch gear that exceeds your expectations? Look no further than GPS, brought to you by Go Outdoors Incorporated. GPS has been dedicated to crafting the finest products for hunting and shooting since 2002. As someone who frequents the gun range, my GPS bag is a staple to safely and effectively haul my gear. My personal favorite is the GPS Tall Range Backpack, which makes walking USPSA stages simple and organized. Their specialized bags are designed to keep all of my valuable equipment secure and organized. With GPS, you can experience the ultimate peace of mind. There are 3 exciting product lines: GPS Tactical, GPS Wild About Hunting, and GPS Wild About Shooting provide the perfect solution for your specific needs. So whether you're on a hunting expedition or hitting the range, GPS is your reliable companion. To find a bag that fits your needs, use code SHESHIELD20, that's SHESHIELD 20, to save and to support the pod. Again, that's SHESHIELD20 at checkout. It's one of those things, just on this note, like people recording in gyms and getting mad that people walk in front of their camera. That's BS.
I feel like they do it just for the, like, I'm offended.
Yes.
I don't think it's like, how are you offended?
Thank God for Joey Swole, though. Do you follow his things?
I've actually met him. We used to be friends.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
used to be.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, there's just like when I used to bodybuild.
Yeah,
like,
no way.
Yeah.
How cool. Cool, yeah. That's a long
time
your
ago.
Personality, like,
does it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so I have a lot of bodybuilder friends, and what I mean by it fits your personality is you seem like a very disciplined person, because that is the 1%. Like,
yeah, it's very hard.
I'm not gonna lie, I tried.
It's hard.
I tried, and I was like,
yeah.
No, I'm happy with where my body's at. I was like, I can't do this. You're telling me I have to go to the gym twice a day?
Yeah.
I can barely make it once a day.
Eat like 7 times a day, drink a gallon of water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You
that's
go
tough.
for it. That's what I meant by that. You seem very disciplined.
Thank you. That's very
if you were thinking, I'm trying to think of how that could be. I could see the bodybuilder personality being like how it's portrayed. Maybe socially, it's not the best thing.
Yeah.
Maybe
there's a lot of like vanity.
Yes.
But that's not for everyone who's in the body. Like, there's so many different reasons people get into fitness, and there's so many different reasons they get into bodybuilding. But like, there are a lot of, like, I don't know. Yeah, there's like a vanity thing there a lot of times, and that people can't see past. But that's not what I meant. I just,
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I met Joey at a gym randomly. I mean, I kind of knew who he was through like the bodybuilding community, and I think I stole his machine. I was again in the zone, like not paying attention. I was in like Venice working out, just trying to do my thing. And he, I don't even know how he found me on Instagram. Yeah. And was like, hey, do you want to, like, hey, you stole my machine. Like, and I don't think you, I was like, I didn't even know you were there. And he was like, and he's like a big dude, right? Like, so I think in his head, it's like, how did you not know I was like, don't care.
Yeah.
Not like
he got upset with you?
No. It was just I was like, I think he was just like surprised. Like,
okay.
How did you not see me? And I like, I don't know. You're not on my radar, dude.
Right.
Yeah. Like, maybe you're used to getting attention.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he was like, you want to work out tomorrow? And I'm like, sure. Cool. And I was like, yeah, I'm here for like a couple more days. And then, we kind of just like, were, I don't know, Instagram friends for a bit. And anytime I was like in LA, or he was like, I lived in Vegas for a bit, he like, hey, you want to come out and hang out with like him and his girlfriend or whoever? And it's like, sure. He's really nice in person.
I was worried you were going to be like,
no, he's nice in person. Because I think, well, I don't know, his persona's different now. Lately I've heard you're like the 3rd person in like a couple weeks who have brought him up.
No way.
And I'm like, is he like popular again? Or because there was like a lull where he had like a problem.
Got it.
I know he talks about it on his Instagram, so I'm not like sharing information that's like personal. But I know he had like a substance issue. He was partying a lot and like, I don't know, took a step away from maybe social media. But when I met him, he was just like, he was huge in the bodybuilding community, had a big social media presence. Like the company he worked for was like, doesn't exist anymore, but it was like big. So, but he was nice. People, I think I was like nervous because sometimes people aren't who they say they are online. Yeah. Or he seems like too nice. I've heard that from people. Like, he seems fake. He seems too nice. And then I met him and I was like, I feel like it's genuine.
Ooh, I just recently, just because we're on this topic, I saw this, it's called like the celebrity effect or something. And it's like certain people who have just kind of stepped into the persona of a celebrity have this, like, when they walk into a room, no matter who they talk to, they act like they know you already. They're like, they act enthusiastic. They even make you feel like the day is about you, that moment's about you. And this is sometimes perceived as like impersonal or disingenuous.
Yeah.
Whereas to others, they are like, I felt like the only person in the room.
Yeah.
And I love that person. So like, I've learned that like that effect is usually perceived. It's like 50-50.
Oh, I'm like a natural skeptic, and I don't judge.
Healthy.
Yeah, and I also like don't trust people. Like we were talking.
So it's like
So I'm like
proven innocent.
It's like waiting, just kind of feeling it out. Yeah, like some like people show you their colors eventually.
Yes.
So and then like after years of him just being kind of kind to me and not trying to like sleep with me or hit on me,
there you go.
which I think I was one of very only girls because I know he had a reputation.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, totally fair.
But no issues there for me. So it was just like respectful and kind. And I'm like, for no want or reason, he's not trying to get nothing from me. He doesn't have to keep in contact and be, so I was like, he's always been nice to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the only thing I can,
Yes, I feel like I do the same thing with people. I like to keep up with them, and it's hard sometimes as a female because I feel like I'm always perceived as like, sometimes you could be perceived as a flirt when you're really just trying to be nice.
Not me.
It's so hard. No, you're just
never once has anyone thought I was flirting.
Now, like in this industry specifically now,
where you have like a lively, bubbly personality.
I keep getting told that.
You do.
I am like, this is so weird, but in the inside, I'm the opposite.
Oh no,
I'm like,
outside, and like
so
you're
funny.
very like loquacious, and you're
loquacious,
talkative. Yeah,
I love that. Wait, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, just talkative. Yeah,
okay, cool.
But like
you're on my podcast right now, so this is super biased, but
it is biased. But I feel like if anyone's watched it, I would assume they can tell.
That's
like you're just like lively, bubbly, very kind.
Right.
But you gotta. I think that type of energy translates to flirty.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah, I'm not that way. I'm not perky.
I feel that.
Bubbly. So
you're definitely like, you radiate like good energy and you have a good heart. And I like felt that from the moment we met at breakfast.
Really
oh my God. Yeah, of course. So like, but yeah, I get it. It's a different game. And I've had to learn now, especially trying to keep a professional perspective.
Oh, I know.
There's a way I stand. There's a way I talk. There's a way I touch.
It's hard being a female.
Hug versus shake hand.
Yeah.
I have like rules now, standards.
Yeah.
I did not have as of like 6 months ago.
Oh.
And I have not handled everything perfectly in this industry. There's a way to do it. I've had a few females reach out to me about this topic, and if you're listening and you're struggling with the same thing, please reach out. I'm happy to talk to you about it, because like the way we conduct ourselves in this industry, it's all optics too. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I make sure I have a certain distance between me and people. There's a certain way I hold my arms. Like there's certain
some girls don't care.
Some don't,
or they use it to whatever that advantage is. Sure, yeah, but it's hard to navigate that for sure.
Yes,
yeah. I've been in male-dominated industries from a very young age.
Yeah.
So, but I always was like, I wanted respect, not attention. I've always felt that way.
Yeah.
So I'm always a little more I'm like, hey, buddy, like off the bat, like, bro, buddy.
Communication.
Yeah. There's no like, I'm not touchy.
Yeah.
I'm not even touchy with like people I do like, let alone strangers though. Yeah. But some girls aren't that way. They're like naturally like touchy and I'm like, oh, that's not gonna come off good all the time.
Right.
And people are judgmental. Other females as well.
Yes. It's
and
very much
especially in the industry. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like someone else earlier said that like it's like competition for females. I hate that. I've never liked that idea.
Right.
But I know just because I don't view other women as competition doesn't mean that's how other women feel. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of sad that they feel that way.
You do not come off as that at all. I've seen it a lot in this industry and I steer clear of it. Yeah. So like I don't have to complain because I never surround myself with those women. I'm being honest.
I've never had an issue really with anyone. And
right? It's almost like
I hope they're scared of me.
Yes, that's so funny. Have you seen that thing where it's like walking into a room with guys and like it's like the girls in like pajamas and it's like walking into a room with that one girl who hates you and she's in all black and it's like strutting and it's like
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I wouldn't put that effort in, but it's real, it's unfortunate. I think the thing that set me up for success is that my sisters and I were competitive violinists from the age of competitive from the age of like.
To play the violin. Dude, I play the piano,
too late.
but I wish that.
Got one.
I mean, I did like concerts as a child, but I didn't play for a really long time, and now I know like a song. I'm trying to teach myself new ones, but it's hard.
It's hard. Were you a classical pianist?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was also a classical pianist, and switching over to like playing by ear is almost impossible because my teacher from the age we all started when we were 5 playing both instruments. Okay,
not but just the piano. I wish I would have learned. It's my favorite instrument. During COVID, I really thought about it because I was like, I had some time. It's the hardest instrument to learn. I looked into it and I was like, honestly, fiddle too. I love a fiddle, so I was like, it's so hard to learn, and like you have to really dedicate a lot of time. And I got so many hobbies, and I'm already trying to relearn piano. So. I'm so jealous, though.
Totally fair. I think piano is a really great place to step back in.
Oh, yeah, it's easy.
If you've got treble clef and bass clef.
Yeah. And I can read music, so
I think piano's harder, but I think it's because I liked violin more, so I practiced it more.
Yeah. No,
so like
definitely. Piano is one of the easiest instruments to learn.
Okay. Listen.
It is. It's
my Russian piano teacher put the fear of God in me.
Love that.
So when I practiced, I was like scared away from her. I was like,
that makes sense.
I have to do so well when I see her next time. This isn't going to be enough. Like a week between our sessions isn't enough. And I just never did well because I don't think I could enjoy it. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, but my violin instructor was awesome.
Pretty much threw up every concert, like piano recital. I have stage fright. No, stress, but stage fright too.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah, and my mother put the fear of God into us. There's just no being good enough. So that also, like, pretty much everything I did as a child was not enjoyable. Like, I look back and I'm like grateful that I learned certain things and have skill sets, but it was not fun at all.
Right.
Like, So.
I'm thinking back to the way this episode started on all of the characteristics that you take with you from career path to career path, and I'm hearing obviously like creative, right? I'm hearing discipline, and also creative in the sense of like. I think reading languages and knowing something beyond your primary language is a form of creativity because you have to think.
Yeah, it's also you have so many like attributes and
it's
like
so random.
Yeah, I don't know, random, but kind of wonderful.
I appreciate that. I'm so thankful my mom did that. I think it kept us out of trouble as kids too. Yeah. We didn't have time to go to parties because we had all state coming. Does that make sense? I dated the high school jock, not to brag.
Oh my gosh, we had very different.
Dude, we do. I know we were talking at SIG and
listening to you guys talk about your upbringing was insane to me.
And okay, so I talked. For context, we were at SIG, we were sitting with Candace Horner, we were all talking about all of our different upbringings with finances. We're just going all over the place in this episode. I love it. I mentioned that there wasn't a lot of financial structure as a kid for me. Wasn't a lot of talking about finances. It was almost like taboo. My parents didn't want me to know how much money they had because they had a lot of it together. Yeah. And I think they thought if they talked about it, they would give us the impression that it was like our money or we would treat people differently. So they almost like didn't talk about it. But they gave us everything we needed, including like credit cards if we wanted something. Like there was no really limitation. We also were just respectful kids. We wouldn't go out and buy anything that we didn't absolutely need.
You just have the one sister?
I had two.
Two sisters? And you're the youngest?
I'm the youngest. But I think things like violin and piano and Spanish tutoring and like all these things we did kept us so disciplined in like categories that maybe didn't have financial purpose, but we had to devote ourselves because they couldn't play the violin for us. You know what I mean? So like, I think that's what taught me the discipline I have today with my career and my relationships and the gym. But like, we talked about like working from a young age. I don't know, what was it like for you with you don't, as much as you want to share.
I'm just laughing because I'm thinking, so my boyfriend, fiance, whatever, he has a daughter. Fiance sounds so lame.
No, it's
like,
not lame. It's so
sounds
sweet.
So like ostentatious, like Beyonce. Oh,
Remind me to never tell you when I'm engaged.
it doesn't bother me when other people say it. Like they'll be like, "Oh, my fiance," I'm like, "Cool." It goes in my head. It doesn't bother me. But when I say it, I'm like, "What is this in my
I
mouth?"
feel like you're trying to speak French.
No, because I'm trying to learn Italian right now.
Okay.
Well, I want to learn Spanish, but we're going to Italy, and Italians are kind of weird about if you don't know any of the language.
Yeah.
They're not very nice.
Right.
So I was like, I want to learn a little bit basis. I know some Spanish, but not conversationally. So I'm like, I just try to learn a little conversational Italian for when we go.
Yeah.
Just to be like, I don't know, not a dumb American.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, fiance sounds stupid. But he has a daughter, and like I always tell her, I'm like, she's like 6, and I'm like, dude, I had 3 full-time jobs when I was your age, and I'm like
6?
Not honestly an exaggeration, pretty much. Yeah,
for real?
Well, at least 2. So like I grew up on a farm, so we farm chores. Like honestly, from like 5, 6, like I killed my first rooster with a shovel at that age. Like
I think I was still in the womb at 6.
Probably.
How did you?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Wow. And yeah, had chores, had to wake up at like 4 a.m. and feed the animals and help with like, milking, feeding, cleaning. And then we're do piano lessons, homeschooling. But then they also worked at a dentist office. And I remember like scrubbing floors, like for recess or whatever homeschool kids get when they're not reading the Bible. And yeah, we were like cleaning floors and helping clean dental tools, like most of,
Did you say recess?
I just guess like a joke.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I was like,
I don't know what recess is, but that's what we did. Like we would take a break from schoolwork and it's like, okay, you got to go clean instruments and like scrub a floor. Yeah. So and like when I graduated high school at 16. So up until 16, I worked, did like school, farm work, and then 4-H and like horse stuff and sports, and then also had a full-time job at the dentist office to pay for all this stuff.
Okay.
Like I didn't get to do things. I had to pay my parents back for everything.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we also didn't really talk about money. It's weird because we were like, didn't have money when I was really young. And then we got our like big farm, and then we had a really nice like house and barns and all this stuff. But still, I wasn't allowed to have things unless I could pay for it.
Interesting.
So I was not given anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I had to like work for everything I wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little
very, very different. No, I had silver spoon, baby. Yeah. Like right in that mouth. I literally remember wanting to go study abroad. My mom was like, I need you to pay for this. And
I had like a rusty spork that was like forced into my...
Sorry. That's so freaking funny. Hey, but like we're here, I guess. So like something worked. I don't know. That's so funny. Yeah. So like you have this big theme of like super disciplined. Like nothing you've said so far would be possible without like just learning how to self-sustain. And sounds like you've taken everything that's happened to you and just made something incredible of it.
I'm trying.
You're at the Rose birthday. You're at Sigsar Rose birthday. I know, but like this is about you, girl. It's my podcast. They know. They're tired of hearing about my nose break story and my drop out of med school stuff. But truly you've come so far. And we haven't even like talked about competition shooting.
Oh no.
By the way, guys, Marisa is
I'm not very good. Yeah, definitely.
We're not here to talk about what class you are.
Yeah.
If you want to share that, feel free. I'm more interested in your journey here. Why you're actually here today at SIG, which you know what I mean. Like, you don't have to have a why, but like, what led from, the story you've told so far to what led you to this point today?
Oh, okay.
I kind of sharply pivoted us.
That's okay.
Because I didn't know about it.
Started competition shooting. I've been around guns, obviously, like farm girl, so guns are a part of life. But when I moved to Nevada, like Las Vegas in 2017 by myself. And I've always wanted to, like, I saw competition shooting and just thought it looked like really cool. And I missed playing sports, like having something to compete in. And I did bodybuilding, and then I got really sick. So like that was something for me to like dedicate, have discipline towards, and like work towards a goal and like push myself. And then I got really sick and had a lot of health issues, and I couldn't do that anymore. And then, so I was like, I would love to do competition shooting. Like I would love to have something to like dedicate time and like learn a new skill set and like work towards a goal. And I met people in Vegas really randomly, like was at someone, like I don't even remember how I met some girl. She was like, oh, I do it. And I'm like, oh, really? She's like, yeah. She's like, you can come practice with us like this weekend. And I was like, okay, love that. And terrible. Like had like I had like what was the gun I had? When I left Colorado, had a lot of guns there, and the psycho ex who tried to murder me had all of the guns in his name because he had an FFL, so it was like a way for him to get them, and it's cheaper, and I would pay him for them. Well, he put them all in consignment, so they couldn't even take them with me. They were in his name. Yeah, so I left. I had no guns. None of like my things I got to take with me. So when I moved, I bought like a Smith & Wesson, like M&P, like subcompact, tiny little, So I went to Vegas to learn how to shoot like steel and paper targets with this tiny subcompact gun. And I think about it, and it was like awful. Like we're like 10 yards away, and it's like subcompact. You're supposed to be like close. And I was like, terrible, missing everything. And I'm like, well, I hate being bad at this. And I was like, I want to get better. I bet you did. Yeah, it was atrocious. And I'm like, I want to get good at this. And so like one of the guys I met, like from my experience for competition shooters, very helpful, very kind. Offered to like lend me some of their extra gear, and like as often as I wanted to come out and shoot, they would help. And like I got better faster because I was there like I was training with them like every week. I was shooting a match like every weekend. Like as much time as I could put into shooting, like if I wasn't working, I was shooting. And for like the 2 years I lived there, I got much better from zero, obviously, to like I was like shooting pretty good. And I loved it. And I met like really good shooters like JJ Rakaza and some of the guys that worked at Marcus Copahug. I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't, but I'm still learning all the names.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's not like
awesome. He mostly shoots PCC now, but they were like very kind and helpful and really good shooters in Vegas. I don't know if anyone's like if you've ever I don't know, have you done any?
No, girl, I was signed up for one in Vegas post SHOT Show. Lena, J-Lise, and I were all signed up, and we all got J-Lise got food poisoning. Lena and I got the flu, but Lena got like the strain of the flu that had like both the upper respiratory and nausea symptoms. Oh, terrible. So like we all woke up and we're like, no.
That SHOT Show crud, it'll get you. Yeah, there's really great shooters in Vegas.
Yes,
so, like,
I've heard.
Yeah, and they were all really kind. So like I feel like being around people who are much better than you, and like, or if you're willing to be a good student, which I always try to be, like, will really help you. So I fell in love with it. Like I was like, I love this. And then I moved to another state that I hated, and there was nowhere to shoot there. So I took like another like 2-year break of shooting. And then I moved to Arizona, which is where I'm at now, and started shooting again. So
everyone's there.
Yeah, I know everyone. Yeah, but I got pretty fortunate. Like I was going when I lived in Vegas, I would go to SHOT Show. I got sponsored by Limcat for a bit, which is like they only make open guns. Okay. Very fancy open guns.
Ooh, solid.
And like just started, sharing shooting content and my matches, and like made friends with people in the industry and started getting more involved in like the tactical side of stuff. And I just continue. I still like shooting and competing, but I don't do it as much as I want to.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm working with like a ammo company now.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Ammo sponsorship.
Nice. Yeah, super great, which is wonderful. And then I worked with Staccato for a while, which was great. That's what I shoot right now.
Okay.
Sorry, Sig.
What's your... Oh, girl, I shoot a lot. They're going to stress. What is your competition gun currently?
Yeah, I have a Staccato XL.
XL. Yeah. Okay, very nice. I'm not super familiar with Staccato. But.
Oh, yeah. So I love it. I like 2011, especially after shooting open. I shot a 2011 for a long time, and those metal guns spoil you. So switching.
So nice.
I love my Staccato.
I'm not steel frame. So anyway.
For SIG, this is my first time like doing anything with them. I mean, I've known who Lena is, and she's so sweet. And I've actually conceal carry a SIG that I love. Good. But I don't know if I'm allowed. I think I'm allowed. They haven't told me I can't, but they're coming out with like a limited line of, they have this fancy new machine that can do designs and slides of the certain models of their pistols.
Okay.
And they're coming out with like a limited edition for a couple different tattoo artists to collab with.
Oh,
and they asked me to be the only female. So for the Rose pistol, they're gonna do limited edition.
Are you for fucking?
Yeah, I haven't done it yet. We're still in like the beginning stages. I'm still waiting to get the like. I signed the contract to do it for them, but waiting to get the like templates to design the slide for them. But that's why they brought me out here.
Wait, are you serious right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, very cool. I'm actually very excited. It was neat when they reached out. One of the other artists who is already designed one for them. And I think he's like on their website, which is why I'm like, I don't think it's a secret because I Googled it on their website and I saw that it was kind of up.
We can double check. And if we need to omit, we can omit.
Yeah.
Or just hold off on this episode.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They haven't been told that I couldn't tell anyone. So, but we'll triple check. But yeah, he recommended me, which I thought was really neat. So he was like, they were looking for a female and he recommended me. And I was like, dang, that's cool. I'm like, this is right up my alley because I like guns. And so
wow, how freaking
really neat.
Oh
I'm excited to see what they're doing with all of the other ones too.
So okay, so you're making the design. It's going to then be etched.
Yeah, engraved.
What's it called? Engraved.
Yeah, they got a fancy engraving machine to engrave the design into the slide.
And sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
No, you're good.
I'm a podcast host, but I'm so good at interrupting.
Doesn't bother me.
Great,
that's how, conversations happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So is this going to be like a limited number of guns?
Yeah, it'll be limited amount of guns. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm sure you'll get one.
I hope so.
I would think so. But what a cool thing to be like.
So neat.
Yeah, that's my design. The sign right there. And
I don't usually like doing it's not like tattoo designs. Well, it kind of is, but it's not. Like, it's just, it feels like I'm a tattoo artist that gets to design something cool. Yeah. And I usually don't like doing stuff like that. Like, someone's like, you design a skateboard. I'm like, ugh, I don't like that. I'm like, well, or I almost tried to do fins once. I like free diving. So I was like, going to design some fins. That would have been neat. But this is like the first time I've really done anything like this, like as a tattooer designing something else. And I'm like very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I can't imagine what it'll be like for you to hold it and get some shots with it with your really cool hand tattoo.
And see other people. Cool.
Seriously. No crap. I'm good friends with one of the Walther. Sorry, I keep having to check to make sure the camera hasn't just.
I know.
I
figured. The light's still on.
I know, right? Thank God for that light. I have a good friend in the marketing department at Walther, and he called me one day. He was like, "I'm just trying to find a model with cool tattoos on her hands."
Oh, that's so rare.
It's so rare.
Yeah.
And he found someone really good hands. Yeah. I'll have to show you some shots he took. It's cool.
Definitely doesn't benefit me in this industry having a tattoo. Oh no, not as a female.
Wait, why? I would think this is rad. Well, then your hands aren't boring. No. Hear me
I just mean in general, like especially in the firearms industry, it has been a common theme that if I was a man, the tattoos are not an issue. I've literally had companies tell me that they weren't interested in working with me because I was a female being heavily tattooed. And literally it was said, like, if she was a guy, it wouldn't really matter, but she's a girl. So like most of the thinking, it doesn't bother me. Like, I chose to look like this, and like companies or other people don't have to like it, or I understand too, like sometimes it's like I don't know, looking what's the word I'm looking for, like oh my gosh, my brain, this is like what happened to you earlier.
Messaging?
No, like when you look like not proper, that's not the word.
Nope, not modest.
No, professional, thank you.
Okay.
That was the word.
I mean, yeah, I hate
sometimes
to say that because I wasn't.
It doesn't,
you know what I mean?
But like sometimes it doesn't look like professional, or if that's like, or a clean, whatever they're going for, if it's not there. Yeah, so I've had companies who are like, oh, not their vibe, and I see like sometimes the people they use, but I'm like way more tattooed than a lot of, like, if you have like a half sleeve or you have like a small tattoo.
But then you get people like Michelle Viscusi.
She only has a half sleeve.
Yeah,
very good.
I feel like she's almost known for that now.
I mean, she didn't have it she just finished that tattoo, like,
did she?
Not that long ago, but she only had like a small one on her arm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then she has like I guess it's like a 3/4 sleeve now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And are you tatted on both arms? Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. That's so cool. I've only seen you dressed up because it is freezing here.
I also wear long sleeves 99% of the time. Even in summer, I just like cover my
You just cover them?
arms most of the time.
Okay,
Michelle
yeah.
is like, literally, it's funny you brought her up because she gives me shit. She's like, well, you never show off your tattoos. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, and she was like, it's weird. And I'm like, why? I like long sleeves, man. And I also like tattoos as much as like you'd think they aren't a conversation starter. You'd think like people would be like, oh, they look scary. Opposite. It's like a full-on conversation starter. People want to like talk to you about him or touch you. Ugh. So I'm like, I don't want any. Again, introvert at heart.
Right.
Like, please don't talk to me. Please don't touch me.
Right. Like, what are they going to, I think it's an interactive experience.
Especially if you're anywhere where there's like alcohol involved. Like, I don't drink a lot, but like sometimes people will get like drunk and they're like, ugh. They'll try to touch you. All of your tattoos.
Ew, why did I just like imagine that happen? I hate that. That's not good. I don't like to be touched like that.
I just feel like that's like a normal social thing. Like, you don't touch strangers.
Yeah,
like,
that's like touching a pregnant woman's belly. Like, it's just...
so maybe that's the same like phenomenon where people like all of a sudden think that you're like free reign.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got pregnant or you got tattooed. You must want me to touch you. Clearly.
It's definitely a look, don't touch piece of art. But jeez, wow, that's unfortunate. I've only gotten tattoos that are concealed because my mom over the years was just so adamant that, especially because I was trying to go to med school and I was like, Mom, I want to get this like...
Oh, my family was not pro tattoo.
They were not. Okay.
Oh, no. No, horrible things were said to me when I started getting tattoos.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, I left at 16, so like, you know, it wasn't like anything new. And I don't talk to them, so it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did not. Yeah, I just I don't know. I like having tattoos, but I don't feel like they define me, and I don't care about what other people think. I just like having the artwork. Like, I have really nice tattoos that I've collected from really talented tattooers. Some people have trash tattoos, and yeah.
Speaking of, remind me to tell you something later. Something I have got to tell you. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I definitely can't say it here. But I'm so sorry. Ooh, got something so funny for you. Yeah, just because we're on the story, I think I told you this earlier. I wanted to get this, I wanted to get the rod of Asclepius. I think that's how you say it, the medical rod, like the snake that's
Caduceus one?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's specifically...
It's the medical one. They use it in the military, and like it's a snake and right? There's a snake.
And it's just the rod. Yeah. So it's not the star.
Not the...
It's not like the... It's not the EMT one. It's the isolated rod and snake. Is it called?
One of them's called Caduceus. But I would...
You're right. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I probably have it wrong, girls.
I don't know. But I'm like, there's two of them, and I'm not sure what the other one's called.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll look it up.
And now I have to double check that I'm even correct on what it's called, because I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, well, we'll look it up. I dropped out, so you can't.
I never went.
So
yeah, I just read.
Yeah, well, I learned just enough to get me in trouble, so we'll see. I still have people call me with like medical questions. I'm like, no, I cannot. No, I cannot tell you that. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, my buddy was really good at snakes. It was like his thing. Snakes are his thing, which is apparently a really hard thing to tattoo because of the eyes and like the...
Well, scales are tough.
Yeah, I bet. And he did like blue ink work, which I love blue on white skin. I think it's really pretty. He didn't want to do blue on me though. He was like... Is blue what? Does blue fade or
not a fan of like colored outline tattoos. Fair. They don't really have a good longevity.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Is it better as a fill?
Yeah.
Shadow kind of? Okay.
I mean, I've seen it done where it's fine, but like, that's like, I don't know, a little bit old school thinking, but like,
sure.
I always like what is going to last the longest and look the best for the the most amount of time. And black outlines are superior.
Okay.
So,
good to know.
Yeah. That's just like in my head. I'm like, you're investing in something, you would think you would want it to, have like last a long time.
Outlined in black. That makes total sense. And he kind of said something similar, but we ended up not doing that at all. I just got like a Bible verse around my area, my breast area.
Your rib cage?
My rib cage.
Okay.
Which like, oh my God, so painful. Yeah. Like he did my sternum, right? Because it had to wrap around. And like, I was I felt someone stabbing you just like
A little bit.
the whole time. And I can't imagine like you've
I have a high pain tolerance. I also am like, it's like alien type. I'll sleep through my tattoos.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like in tears, I'm pretty sure.
Fair. Most people are. Every time I tattoo a rib cage, I'm like, spicy, huh? And they're like, oh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I slept through most of mine. And they're like, wait, why would you say that? I'm like,
It's so funny.
oh, like the look on your face right now. Pain.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Is it true that like the bigger dudes are the bigger pansies? When I did phlebotomy, that was the case. It was like the big muscular dudes that like they'd be like, don't tell me when you're gonna.
Tattoos are, it's such a weird pain that it really is like an equalizer. There is no rhyme or reason to who is tough and who is not. I do think anyone who tries to tell you they're tough is going to sit terrible. Anytime someone's like, oh yeah, I could sit forever. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a short day. Cool.
I did that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, I've done martial arts my whole life. I broke my nose 5 times.
No, that is a different type of pain. I've literally met dudes who've been like stabbed in fights and have like fucking cried getting tattooed. Like, no joke. And so I'm like, tattooing is like a weird pain equalizer. It doesn't matter how tough you are.
Yeah.
And some people, like one of the toughest clients I ever had was this teeny tiny dude. He's like so sweet, like young. He was like early 20s, so shy, like never had a girlfriend. He's so sweet, but like literally a 2x4 of a like person, like just straight up and down, like the size of my arm, whole body.
Yeah.
And he wanted a full back piece, like, and he was like, as big as you want to go. I did a sleeve on him, and he was super tough. He's like, I want my back done, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm like, how big? He's like, as big as you want. So I went like down behind his knees, full huge back tattoo, and he sat perfect for like 8 to 10 hours each time. No, nothing. Didn't move, didn't make a noise, just tough as nails. And I'm like, if you would look at this dude compared to like other, you would never be like,
yeah.
And I'm like, I love this.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're such a like anomaly. Not really, because tattoos are like that, but like people would never assume that you're super tough getting tattooed like this. And I kind of love that. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Yeah. He was a wonderful client. Really kind, really sweet, really tough. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
We gotta talk later because I've got a tattoo concept I'd really like to do.
Okay.
It's like I'm not gonna share it on here because it's that was personal, but we'll talk about it. It is a back tattoo.
Okay.
Thank God we don't mics on ourselves. Okay. Well, I'd love to talk about one more thing as far as like the last thing I want to cover specifically today in this, unless there's anything else you want to share. Mm-hmm. I'd love to know, we're pretty much in the beginning of the 2025 year. As far as your journey in shooting, self-defense with your nonprofit, what are some goals you have going into this year? Things you want to work on?
Just for those things specifically?
Anything.
No, that's fine.
Anything that you're excited to talk about.
We do have a self-defense course in April for my nonprofit. It's kind of like we're all still doing the course curriculum for everything. So going over that. And then I'll be putting on my own self-defense, like beginner shooting course for War Party Ranch. Hopefully in the fall, because Arizona's really hot. So try not to do it in the summer. Yeah. We also have like a big gala in Montana to raise funds. We're also working with one of the native tribes up there, which is really great.
Oh, okay.
So we got a lot of things like this year that we're working towards for the nonprofit, which I'm really excited for. So, and then I like with shooting, I just need to shoot more.
Yeah.
I just need to like dedicate more time to bigger matches. We're also trying to build like a house, and like we're getting married. So I got like, there's like a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
I'm trying to paint more. That's like my main goal is to like tattoo less and paint more.
Okay.
I know.
Love it. Yeah.
Just a lot of different, like a lot of, things happening, juggling. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lots of goals, I guess.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And something I've been hearing a lot, it's so funny. I'll have really talented guest speakers come on, gun, shooters, and all of them say I need to shoot more. Yeah. And I'm always like, yeah, right? Like, we all need to shoot more. And recently, I'll share, I don't usually do this, but one of my goals is to actually go to less competitions right now.
I love that.
And just go to the range and shoot.
Yeah.
I think there's this aspect of like, I almost feel like I need to go compete. It's like, I feel like I need to go compete when really like my focus is self-defense. There are things that I know I need to work on with competition. I don't need to go shoot a match right now to like figure that out.
You just need to practice. I just need dry fire. Yeah.
So I'm saying that back as like a way to be like, okay, you need to go to more matches. I'm going to go to less. I'm going to go to the range by myself.
When I say matches, that means I have to practice for those matches.
Oh, I like it. Okay, so it's like an accountability piece.
Oh yeah, like I'm like I can go to a match and just shoot, but like I really hate going to matches. I mean, I'll still like, sometimes I'll just do local matches for fun. So I'm like, oh, I don't really care. Technically, I'm viewing this as like a practice.
Right.
But for like bigger matches, like I actually want to like dedicate practice time and dry firing. So I, shoot better.
Right.
Whatever my best version of shooting in that moment is, like, I'm not trying to win.
Right.
I'm not at that, like, I'm not there. I don't practice enough to even be that type of competitive. But competitive for me, like, hey, like I can push myself, I can do better. You got to practice and dry fire to shoot these matches. So you're not like, no one else cares how I did. I can be last place and not one other person is really going to care. Right. I would care a lot. And I'd be like, this is embarrassing. How dare you?
Right.
Like you really should practice more. So yeah, accountability for sure.
Absolutely. It's almost like it's also like a little bit of it's two sides. It's like individually, I don't want to suck, but it's like, and then I also get to go and like show what I've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's like a little bit of pride and ego there, but like, I feel like in a healthy way where I'm like, I know I'm capable of being better. And I also like want other people to see that I put in the work.
Right.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And before I end every episode, I love to give the guest speakers a chance to send a message. Like, what is your leaving message from what we talked about? Is there anything that we talked about today where you're just like, ooh, I want to send this?
I love not being prepared for this because my brain is just...
never prepared. Like, you'd be surprised. You'd be super surprised.
I mean, you do this often. So. What I'm supposed to leave people?
I mean, anything. It could be like, we talked about, abusive relationships.
Yeah.
And we also talked about getting into competition shooting, kind of. I know we didn't talk about that as deeply, but...
Oh, I think I always like a thing that sits with me a lot, and we did talk about it a little bit, but like learning who you are and willing to be alone and like fall into that, like learning the difference between alone and loneliness is a really hard lesson for people. And I'm always trying to cultivate that in people, because I think with anything you do in life, especially when it comes to like abusive relationships, when you aren't scared of being by yourself and like when you learn that who you are is like your favorite company and that you don't need other people to fill space, that you will allow the right people into your life, not just people who, again, like fill that space. So I'm like, I love that for people, like learn the difference between lonely and loneliness and cultivate that relationship with yourself. So that's
thank you for that. I love that. I love that so much. I have had some episodes come at like really interesting times in my life. Yeah. I'm like, okay, God, I see you. Like, I see what you're saying. Like, I love that. No, but seriously, I hope the listener, there's at least one person of all the downloads, all the many, many downloads we're going to get is feeling validated by a lot. And I'm sure they are. Your story is incredible, inspiring, and I'm excited to learn more off camera about not the off topic, the nonprofit. we'll get off topic too, and how I can also contribute past posting this episode. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful. Yeah, it's better than I didn't expect to do a podcast. So it's like, honestly, this has been really great, and you're so easy to talk to, and this has been very enjoyable. So thank you for letting me share. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad I got to ask you during the SIG tour today. Oh, yeah. We were definitely on the tour, and I was like, hey, can you use it for me? She was like, yeah, sure, let's do this. Yeah. So that's you did great with zero prep. Holy crap. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
For those of you listening, this full video and audio is on YouTube. I always forget to say it in the beginning, but if you're interested in seeing that, please check that out. The lovely Lisa Hamilton does those shorts you see that are so popular on Instagram, as if we're not being suppressed right now. So if you're interested in recommend going and seeing those. You'll get to see clips of our guest speakers with some impressive B-roll and just some engaging content to get you excited about the episode if you're not sure which episode you want to listen to next. That is at She Shield Pod on all platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Livefire, YouTube, and everywhere else pretty much. All resources mentioned in the episode will be listed in the show notes, which are the notes below the podcast title. And if you liked the podcast, you can help by liking, subscribing, and leaving a review. We are now at, I believe, 4.9 stars. So if you want to help bring that up, go for it. And if you or anyone you know is a firearms owner experiencing a crisis, look into holdmyguns.org. They are an organization that will connect you with a local gun shop or FFL to store your firearm for you. The link to access their website and to find a storage location partner is available in the show notes. Thank you for listening. In the meantime, stay safe and stay vigilant. Are you ready to step up your shooting game? Introducing Walkers Inc., the pioneers in ear protection for shooting, hunting, and commercial applications. For over 25 years, they've been revolutionizing the industry, ensuring your hearing safety and enhancing your shooting experience. Anytime I'm on the range, indoor or outdoor, I use Walkers ear protection to have crystal clear communication with my fellow shooters. I personally use the disruptors for outdoor shooting and the recons for my indoor shooting adventures. Not only does it protect your hearing, but it also protects you. Being able to communicate with others on the range is vital to personal safety. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your safety when the ultimate goal is better self-protection. With Walkers, you'll experience unparalleled comfort, unmatched innovation, and the industry standard in shooting ear protection. Don't settle for anything less when it comes to your safety and enjoyment on the range. You can save on Walker's ear protection and support the podcast by using code SHESHIELD20, that's SHESHIELD 20 at checkout. Again, that's SHESHIELD20 at checkout.